Shalom. Call Haloyim, La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Shalom to you fellow laborers out there doing the work in truth and in sincerity, especially during these times. Shalom to the few Akwatim that believe as well. A hearty shalom to you other laborers and believers that are scattered throughout the face of the earth, whether you be among the heathen and unlike the heathen nations who are speckled Israelites, to the whole household of faith, which is the elect, I want to say shalom. Now, I probably entitled this video, various topics, a lot going on, a lot to weigh in, what was going on over between the Israeli and Iranian conflict, or war, rather. And I got a clip, and I'm gonna play this clip for you. And I want to say fair use, courtesy of George Galloway, mother of all talk shows, which, my videos are not monetized. I don't make any money off these videos, only for educational purposes and biblical edification purposes as well. So I don't make any kind of conversation, just done solely out of edification of the body of Yahweh Shai, So right now, for a week and a half now, there's been strikes against, these Iranians, and they retaliated every time. And what happened was Babylon have struck, the Iranians, which are the biblical Persians, with B-52 bombers. And so now everyone's on the edge of their seats because they know that the Iranians / Persians are not a pushover country. They know they have great military capability, as well as their alliance that they're a part of, being the BRICS nations, Russia being the head of it. Russia, and then you have China and other players. But everyone's on the edge of their seats, biting fingernails and nervous. You got the U.S. military on high alert. Tens of thousands of U.S. militaries in the so-called Middle East, which is West Asia. And, we're going to see how Iran retaliates, So meantime, let's check out this clip. And, this is pretty much what our Lord said will be going on, okay, when he will be getting ready to return. And I'll get that real quick. In the book of Matthew 24 and verse 6, it says, "And ye shall hear of wars," and he knows it's in red, so Yahweh Shai is speaking, right? And this is what he told his disciples, his men, right? "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." And we're living in the times right now where we're seeing these wars and rumors of wars come to pass, okay? And the end is not yet, because there are other prophecies that have to take place. All right, though this is one of them, all right, a part of the prophecy, right? The wars, rumors of wars. But you continue on, verse 7. "For nation shall rise against nation," right? And we see that going on right now, okay? "And kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in different places." So, the famine, which is going to be a global, famine, all right? Pestilences, which is different diseases or epidemic of diseases throughout the earth, all right? And you have earthquakes taking place all over the earth daily, okay? It says, verse 8, "All of these are the beginning of sorrows," right? Because many sorrows are going to be issued out to the vast majority of the inhabitants of the earth, all right, the people, okay? And this is what we've been prophesying about from the apostles on down, all right, and even their elders, But today we have the apostles, the elder bishops, and on down to the youngest brother in the camp. We're prophesying of these same things. Just like the prophets of old, right? It says it's in Jeremiah 28 and 8, right? Let's get that real quick. Jeremiah 28, I'll start at verse 7. It says, Nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears and in the ears of all the people, right? The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence, right? So this is what's going on. We're prophesying about what? War, evil, and pestilence against what? All these countries that the Lord is gathering for the great battle of Armageddon, or Armageddon in the Hebrew. Okay? And the great kingdoms, like the kingdom we're in right now. The last leg of the Roman system. All right, or extension of the Roman Empire, which is through America. All right? Through America, through Babylon the Great. Okay? And we tell them what the Heavenly Father, as far as concerning judgment, had pronounced against this place and other places, all right, in all you nations and other countries around the world, man. Okay? So, without any further ado, let's go back to this clip. I want to say again, fair use, fair use. Let's see what Colonel McGregor, which is his guest, and this is a retired U.S. Colonel, Colonel Douglas McGregor, and he's known for his inside expertise. This man has served the U.S. military for decades, and he's an insider that's now, retired, of course, but he has great insight on what's going on. So let's check it out, and we're going to filter through the scriptures. All right, again, fair use, fair use.
Well, there wouldn't have been a strike, and we would not now be at war with Iran. And I think the most important thing for your audience to understand is something that most Americans don't understand, George. The United States is now at war with Iran as Israel's critical and ultimately only real ally. It's very important to understand that, because this is something that Israel, its lobby, and ultimately its agents in the United States have tried to bring on for 30 years. They've now achieved it, which explains why Mr. Netanyahu last night was almost giddy in his response. He knows that he's...
And that's true. That's true. What you finding out is this whole Southwest Asia slash what they call the so-called Middle East today, which is still West Asia. This whole war on terror was surrounded around these Amalekites, okay, these Israelis. And what they have done is successfully gotten the Northern Army, which is America, and the military head of the beast system, to go out in war with the last strong player in that region, which would be Persia, which is known as Iran today. Okay? That's why it says what? That Amalek was the first of the nations. Okay? The Israelis, okay, have dragged the Northern Army into these wars for decades now. Okay? Decades. And now they successfully have pulled the Northern Army, the Northern Army into this conflict, which again, we bring out these scriptures and show you that what? That's talking about the least of the flock drawing out, all right? Drawing out the Northern Army, man. Okay? This is Jeremiah 49:20. It says, Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Edom, the Edomites. Okay? Even those people that's in the land of Israel, as you know it today, formerly the land of Canaan, they're descendants of Edom by way of the tribe of Amalek. It says, and his purposes that he had purpose against the inhabitants of Teman, right? The Germans. A lot of them small hats come out of where? Germany. Okay. surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And that's what's happened, man. All right. The least of the flock, which is the Amalekites, the last Edomite country that was created, all right, which is known as the state of Israel today, okay, have drawn out, all right, the northern army. It says, surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Because you know what? At the end of this deal, all right, this third world war, Babylon will be destroyed. And also the land of Israel is going to be cleansed by fire. Thus said the God of the Bible. All right, verse 21. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. See, their fall, right? And it says, at the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Because why? When you factor in on what's going on, how the northern army is being dragged in, all right, when you go to the book of Joel 2, which we've been going into it all week, for the last couple of weeks, rather. Well, whenever the Spirit permits it, okay? Joel 2:20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army and will drive him into a land barren and desolate. Right? The land barren and desolate is what? The Arabian Peninsula. With his face toward the East Sea. The East Sea is the River Euphrates. Okay? And this hinder part toward the utmost sea, which is the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he had done great things. Okay? The northern army represents what? The American army. The American army is, again, drawn out into this World War III, because that's what's going on now. And you've had statements from Russia and China even, all right, threatening the U.S., which is Babylon. All right, Russia represents Gog. We know that China is just, the Moabites. But Russia is the head nation, or country, rather, that the Heavenly Father is going to bring against Babylon. Because now that the northern army have been drawn out, okay, due to, like he said, those Israeli lobbyists, all right, and war hawks in Washington, all right, to do the bidding on behalf of those Israelis, which are the Amalekites, as far as these intervention wars, these so-called regime change wars. Now it's going to, all right, fully blossom into a world war, all right, a world's war. Okay, because Russia has said in the video, in several videos, they would not allow Iran to go down. All right, and that's the fulfillment of Ezekiel 38. And I'm gonna go to the point, right? Because it mentions what? Prophecy about Gog and future invasion of Israel. Because who's in the land of Israel? All right, it's the Amalekites, the Idumeans. All right, Ezekiel 36 goes into that. Idumea and the residue of the heathen, right? Right. So, excuse me, I got a little tongue tied. Mouth a little dry, Salaki. It says, prophecy against Gog and future invasion of Israel. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Now, you look at the land of Magog, right? Which we've done this many times, right? But we'll do it again. Okay? We'll web search it, see what we get. Oh, look at the AI. AI got it right. Look, I'm going to get the images, but look at this. In biblical prophecy, Magog is often interpreted as a land or region north of Israel, potentially including parts of modern-day Russia and Ukraine, or even further north and east. Well, the furthest north country is the Russian country. All right, the country of Russia. It says, it is primarily known as the land from which Gog, a future enemy of God's people, will come, which we know that Gog is going to come up against Babylon. Okay, but let's go to the images real quick and get some locations, right? See, we have right here Gog, would you have Russia sit right there? Okay. Now you go back to the scriptures. Matter of fact, I'll keep reading. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the name of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, which is Russia, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Now we know that those names go back to Japheth, but we know that the Japhetic people, all right, were pushed out of their own lands by the Edomites. So the Edomites are in those lands, ruling, all right, in those names or in those geographical locations, right? Verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Okay, which is what? Military might. All right, all of their military might. The naval or the navy, all right, the air force, they got the submarines. All right, Russia is far superior to the U.S. as far as military might, and they're ahead of them by at least a half a century or so, about 50 years. Okay, 40 to 50 years ahead of them, and that's just what we know. Verse 5, Persia, which is the Iranians today, Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Yeah, all of them with what? Weapons, as you read the NLT, right? Persia, Ethiopia, Libya will join you too with all their weapons, right? See, we're in a time of war, and when it's wartime, you bring out your weaponry, all right, your weapons of war. All right, verse 6 in the KJV, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Torgamar of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee, right? Because even when you look at the map, Gomer and Tomer, all right, these different countries, right? And Torgamar, all right, which you have Turkey that sits right there now, and Torgamar, which Turkey already is the ally with Russia. All right, they pretty much left the NATO, turned their back on NATO. Okay, but you want to have all these different countries along with Russia that's going to come up against Babylon. All right, now verse 7, it says this, be thou prepared and prepare thyself. Yeah, make you ready to the battle. Okay. Matter of fact, I'll read the NLT. It says, get ready, be prepared, keep all the armies around you mobilized, and take command of them. Right? Keep them mobilized, keep them ready, on go, on guard, right? When you read the KJV, it says, be thou prepared, prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company, all your military that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. And that's what's going to happen. Okay? They're going to be a guard unto these other nations. Right now, we're speaking about Iran, all right, / Persia. Okay? Because what you're seeing going on is those Israelis cannot withstand the retaliation from the Iranians. Okay? Excuse me. And we know why. Those Iranians, which are, again, keep in mind that they're Persians, man. They're the original Persians. That's in the Bible. Okay? And you look at the book of 2nd Esdras 15. Okay? And we can begin at verse 28. It says, behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, right? Military, right? Military might. And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Because why? They're going to come out for war. And they're already talking about sleeper cells here in Babylon that may be activated. Along with, and this is what the experts are speaking about that the Iranians are probably going to activate these sleeper cells, and also at the same time shut down the Straits of Hormuz, which will help cripple the economy over here. Okay? Verse 30. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Which the land of the Assyrians today are who? The Americans. What was the Assyrians known for? All right, they was a part of that first beast. All right, we had the Neo-Babylonian Empire / Assyrian Empire. Okay, and they were known for what? Enslaving the northern tribes of Israel, just enslaving Israelites in general. Okay, and again, Assyria today will be America. It says what? It shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. And that can happen in a given moment right now, as far as chaos erupting, all right, throughout this land. Okay? Now the Carmanians, which if you don't know, I'll get it though. The Carmanians, all right, you look up the Carmanians. Okay, look, it says Carmanians, Iran, which is true. All right, Carmanians. It says the Carmanians were an ancient people inhabiting Carmania, a region in ancient Persia, roughly corresponding to the modern-day Kerman province in southeastern Iran. See? Look at that. Herodotus listed Carmanians amongst other Iranian tribes. Yeah. See, they all know that, man. And if you don't know, again, Persia, all right. Let me get that real quick. Oh, Slocky. There you go. It says right here, Wikipedia, Iran, officially the Islamic Republic of Iran, and also known as Persia, is a country in West Asia, but yet they call it the Middle East, though, right? See, that because Esau, okay. But the point is, all right, that's Iran, all right, today. And this happened in 1935, by the way. When you look at, it should say, you look it up, right? 1935. Let me see, history. They go into a lot of history. Look. Let's see. Oh, it's lucky. It should have said 1935, but you can look it up on your own time. It'll tell you. All right. Let me see here. When Persia become Iran. Okay, here we go. Persia officially became known as Iran in 1935. All right, so there you go. All right. So again, going back to this video, all right, as we're watching, World War III unfold. All right, this all is the fulfillment of prophecy, basically. Okay, let's continue on and play a little more. Again, fair use, fair use.
He's finally got what he wants because this war is going to expand. It's going to take time. How long is anyone's guess, and it could have terrible consequences. So I think there was a failure at the policy-making level to understand what they were doing. And if you listen to Trump, this is not a man who wants the war. And so instead of a strike going in, even though this had been rehearsed for innumerable times over many years, even though they'd rehearsed it and practiced it, what they ultimately did was harm nothing and accomplish nothing. They hit the equivalent of empty buildings, empty targets. And then after...
So they basically didn't even destroy anything. See? They went over there and hit Iran with strikes, trying to bomb their nuclear facilities, and found out, come to find out, and there's many experts that spoke out on this, right? Even I watched videos of Scott Ritter and other different viewpoints and expertise of what's going on. They didn't even destroy Iranian nuclear facilities, empty buildings. Even the one Fordo was supposed to be the largest one. It took minimum damage, but they had already removed their nuclear. They already had removed according to reports, their nuclear stockpiles and hypersonic missiles and everything they had to build more missiles. They already had removed it. These buildings were empty, man. Let's play back a little bit.
Strike going in, even though this had been rehearsed for innumerable times over many years. Even though they'd rehearsed it and practiced it, what they ultimately did was harm nothing and accomplish nothing. They hit the equivalent of empty buildings, empty targets. And then after doing so, he announced that he was now ready for peace, which is the ultimate expression of self-delusion. He now has a full-blown war on his hands. But until...
So that's the point, you know. They didn't hit anything. And why they're able to do this, because right now it's in the power of their hands, man. All right, this whole regime change thing and what they're trying to do to Iran, which they're not going to be successful. All you've done is drug out the Northern Army again to this World War III that's prophesied in the Bible. Okay, so prophecy wins, like it always does. It's all about prophecy. Okay, but let's read Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Right. So you're able to strike them because it's in the power of your hands. See? But upon striking these Iranians, all right, slash Persians, all you've done is fulfill prophecy. Now you're drawn out to this World War III. Now we're going to see all the major players come out. Russia, China, India, all right, UK, France, Germany, all of them going to come out. Because now, that's what it warrants. All right, the assembling of the troops that the Heavenly Father, all right, is mustering or gathering, as it says in Isaiah 13. Okay, verse 2, and they covet fields to take them by violence, and houses and take them away, and this is what they trying to do to the Iranians. See, those Israelis have this greater Israel plot or agenda, and that includes destroying the so-called Arab countries or nations around them that has been warned with for all these decades of being in that land since the early to mid 1900s. Of them mainly, around World War III, when you had a large migration right before World War II. All right, the 1930s was a large bulk of them. All right, the 1920s, 30s, a large bulk of them was going over there. And what they did was they went over to that land. I mean, you could begin in the 1900s even. They was going over in the beginning of the 1900s. You know, when you go into the history. But when they got to that land, there's been wars there ever since. Okay? Look at this right here. Three-Day War. Let's see. The Three-Day War. There's so many wars. 6-Day War, you know. Let me see. Let's see here. Let's see what we get. Okay, so yeah, okay. This is one of them. 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The first war in 1948 and 49 began when Israel declared itself an independent state following the United Nations partition of Palestine and 5 Arab countries: Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. Attack Israel May. Well, that was it on that. Okay, so basically, and this is the same year they declared themselves as the state of Israel, which was done by the Balfour Declaration. All right, along with Lord Rothschild. Okay, which is behind, the state of Israel being created, which is the fulfillment of Ezekiel 36 again. See? And what they done was they went over there and warred with those Arab nations through violence. Okay? Using what? The United Nations. Mainly the UK in America. Okay? To war with those Arab nations. Okay? Let me get this real quick. I already spoke on it twice. Let's go ahead and read it. Ezekiel 36:5, because this is important, man. This is important. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my justice have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom. When you look it up, right? This is a Greek way of saying Edom. Okay? Very important to look up your words so you know what they mean, see? Edom. And it's really Adawam, not Adam. No, it should be a Y in the Adawam. That's how you say Edom. See, it says Edom. The Edomite, Idumean, descendants of Esau. See? Because that's not your land. Your land is south. All right, Mount Seir, it was south of the land of Israel or Palestine as you know it today. So you're in a land you never had a right to. But let's continue on. It says, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. And that was by way of the Balfour Declaration. And when they did that, what happened? You had war. And there's been war there ever since. So from 1948 to now, that's what? 77 years. All right, 77 years of war that's been going on over there. See? And this is the reason why they've been pushing the Palestinians out. The genocide and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. All right. That's been going on because why? They're trying to claim that land, all right, for themselves. When that land belongs to the 12 tribes of Israel, who are the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American people today. Okay? And that's why they've been pushing them Palestinians and so-called Arabs out of that land. Because why? It tells you this right here, John 10:10. The thief cometh not, but, or except, right, for to steal and to kill and to destroy. And who is the great thief of the earth? It's Esau, Edom. The very reason he was driven forth from among men during the dark ages. It says what? They cried after him as after a thief. Because Esau is a thief. He steals nationalities and lands. Why do you think the name Israel is a bad name in the earth right now? Because the Edomites claiming our nationality or identity. So for many years, people think the people of Israel are the Idumeans, which it says in the 1925 Jewish encyclopedia that modern day Jewry is what? Esau, Edom. Out of their own books. Okay? Out of their own books. Okay? Look at this. See what comes up. Look at this. Yeah, Cora got it right. Okay, let me see. See, can I find it? But hey, you know what? We can read it, Cora. It's accurate. Definitely accurate. Look. Let's see. Give me 1 second. See what we get here. They make it difficult for you to find it these days, but you do a little digging. Do a little digging, you'll find it. Volume 5, page 41. That's the same thing. Volume 5, page 41. Let's see what we can find here. It's a lot in this. It's a lot. You know, you gotta dig for it, but and you get you know, on your own time, just do your diligent research. You'll find out, you know, that it says that modern day Jewry is Edom. Okay? Because I don't want to hold you too long. You do your own research. You know, that way you know for yourself. Okay? Get out of there. All right, so let's go here. Okay. So the Revelation 6. Because now we know what's going on. All right, the thief coming not but to steal, kill, and destroy. All right, Revelation 6 and 4 says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given to him a great sword. So when you go into the fact that the nation, all right, it says him, referring to who? A person, a man, right? So it was given to him, right? Let's see here. See? Ain't no damn she. It's him. All right. So it's talking about referring to a man. Okay. It's referring to a man, and that man happened to be Esau Edom. Okay. Because who was known as Red, or who was called Red, which is the word Edom, right? Or Adawam. All right. It was Esau. All right. The eldest son of Isaac. Okay. This is the book of Genesis chapter 25, and I'll go to 29. I'll start at 29. Well, actually, I'll start up and then I'll jump down. Verse 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, which we know that means wasted away is he, or he's wasted because of the lack of pigmentation, right? Jumping down to verse 29, it says, that Jacob side pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. All right? And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Okay? And they know that, that they descend from these people. The Rothschilds know that. The word Rothschild goes back to red shield or red child. Who's the red child? Esau Edom. Okay? Let's see what it says for red, okay? And you notice, right? They keep throwing that fucking Adam in there. It's really Adawam. But the devil, okay? The devil he is. Notice right here. Okay? That's Adawam. Okay? Copy that. Matter of fact, let's look that up. We can web search that too. See what it says. I ain't never web searched it before, so let's see what I get here. Oh, it says Edom. Adawam. And look, it's in the Assyrian style. Look at that. Meaning. Edom. Alright. The Hebrew word Adawam says Edom. It says literally means red. So that Adam is a different word. Going back to the name of Adam, Adama. See, Adama and Adawam is two different words. Okay? Nice try though, right? So that's who was red. And horse represents power. Okay? If you don't know, by the way. But what was given to him was a great sword. When you go into the blessing of Esau, Edom, Isaac blessed him with what? The fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And he said, by thy sword shalt thou live. That's why, Esau get these lands that he got by using the sword. Same way he got America from us. Same way he got America from us. By using the sword, whether it be the biochemical sword or the actual sword. That's how he been able to gain these lands. Okay? And see, now we're living in a time where his time is up. Okay? And the Lord's going to take him out by the sword, because it says what? He that killeth with the sword must die by the sword. So we're going to see in these coming days, weeks, and months, what's going to, hopefully days and weeks, hopefully come fast. All right, we're going to see what's going to transpire and what's going to become of this Iranian and Israeli conflict. Okay? But with that, we give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Shalom to the Lord's elect, and I'll see you in the next video. Lord willing, shalom till next time.